Dear colleagues, we have just concluded a meeting in a narrow format, which was held in a confidential, frank atmosphere, productively, I would say. We discussed in detail the development of multilateral cooperation within the CIS, exchanged views on regional and international issues, including those conflicts and crisis situations that persist in the international arena. And now we are continuing our work of the Council of Foreign Ministers, and I give the floor to Sergei Lavrov for information. Dear Chairman of the Council of Foreign Ministers, distinguished heads of delegation, participants of the meeting, I would like to inform you that at the meeting in a narrow format, the foreign ministers approved the agenda and the rules of procedure of the meeting, and the heads of the delegation used most of the time for a frank, as Sergei Viktorovich said, exchange of views on topical issues on the international agenda and interaction within our Commonwealth. In addition, in a narrow format, it was decided to hold a regular meeting of the Council of Foreign Ministers on April 11, 2025 year in the Republic of Kazakhstan. With regard to the meetings in a broad format, the heads of the delegation decided to hear reports on Agenda Item 3, on the statement of the foreign ministers of the CIS member states on cooperation in the field of physical culture and sports. The remaining documents are agreed to be signed without discussion due to their readiness. Thank you for your attention. So, thank you, Sergei Nikolaevich. We are considering the issue of the statement of the foreign ministers of the CIS member states on cooperation in the field of physical culture and sports. The floor is given to the Deputy Minister of Sports of the Russian Federation, Alexei Alexeyevich Morozov. Please. Dear Sergei Viktorovich, dear Sergei Nikolaevich, dear colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to speak here and present our joint work with colleagues from the Ministry of Sports of the CIS countries. We have discussed and confirmed that humanitarian cooperation is undoubtedly one of the priority areas of interaction between the members of the Commonwealth of Independent States. At the venue, the Commonwealth of Sports fulfills an important mission of unification, contributes to the preservation of the common sports heritage, to simplify the traditionally good neighborly partnership relations between our countries, and, referring to the International Charter of Physical Education, Physical Activity and Sport, the resolution of the UN General Assembly 2000 of the 18th year, where sport as a factor in ensuring sustainable development, which notes the need to counteract any forms of discrimination, including on racial, linguistic, political, military grounds, formed our statement. It is emphasized that sport is one of the inalienable human rights that have undoubtedly universal and mass character. And I note the importance of interaction between the CIS member states within the framework of the Council for Physical Culture of Sports. Colleagues, sports are developing on our fields, in our countries. Indeed, many events are held under the slogan "Outside Politics." It goes over 100 in our calendar plan. One of the most important sporting events is the CIS Games, which have already become traditional. For the first time they were held in 2021 year in Kazan. In the 23rd, the Republic of Belarus continued in Minsk. And now we are all actively preparing for the 25th year. The third CIS Games will be held in Azerbaijan next year. I hope that with the joint efforts of the organizers and participants, we will have to create a truly real celebration of sports and friendship between our peoples. I emphasize that these are not only sporting events, but also a great cultural event. Also, in the context of modern realities, the world strives for inclusive development. We are aimed at solving sports interaction in adaptive sports. And last year, we made the appropriate decision that in the 25th and 27th year, Russia will host the first Spartakiads of the CIS countries among children with disabilities. One of the priority areas of sports cooperation is also the development of sports education and support for student sports. And so we have two basic organizations operating in the field of sports in the Commonwealth space. These are the Russian University of Sports and the Volga State University of Physical Culture and Sports, where events are held annually in terms of student sports and the development of sports science. Seminars and meetings of vice-rectors on academic work for educational organizations are held annually, where joint solutions and further development are developed. We consider it an important step to hold such events, which will further strengthen the positions of our countries in the CIS space. Also, in the 24th year, it is possible to note several sports events that have already been completed. These are the games of the future, and all of you took part in them with your teams. This is the Silk Road Rally and events aimed at sports fans. For example, we had an annual marathon. And this year, for example, on the 19th of May, the race started on a single day. At the same time, thousands of amateur athletes started simultaneously in Moscow, Bishkek, Yermat, Almaty, Dushanbe, Minsk, Baku, and Tashkent. The participation of the CIS countries in these events demonstrated the strength of sports cooperation and the spirit of camaraderie in the Commonwealth space. Next week, the International Sports Forum Russia will start in Ufa from the 17th to the 19th of October. Sports Power. More than 120 countries have been invited. Invitations have been sent to all sports ministers through the CIS countries. We invite everyone. We are also convinced that the events planned in the 24th-25th year, as part of the announcement of Ashgabat, as a city of new sports opportunities, the partnership will be of great importance and make a significant contribution to the development of sports in the region. I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to all our joint sporting events to get a boost of energy and cheerfulness. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, Alexei. What questions do you have, colleagues? Clarification? If not, then I propose to make a decision on this issue, which has already been agreed. I don't see any objections. I make decisions. Taking into account the decisions of the heads of the delegation, which was adopted in a narrow format, it is proposed to consider the remaining issues on the agenda, or rather to sign, if you want, without discussion. If the Executive Committee is ready to proceed with the procedure, please start. If there are no objections, I ask the CIS Executive Committee staff to proceed with the signing procedure. Assistance practically. Just a little bit, please. Please, just a little bit.